Hey there, my name is Cassie Torresias, and 8 years ago, I launched my own online graphic design studio and booked a one-way ticket to travel the world in pursuit of my own freedom-filled life. I now own a multi-million-dollar online business, The Bucket List Bombshells, teaching other women how to do the same, alongside my best friend, co-founder, and podcast co-host, Shay Brown. Around here, we believe that your crazy dreams aren't crazy, and that it's time for you to start creating the life and career that you dream about too. Whether you want to travel and work remotely, or simply just want to be your own boss, it's possible to live out your passion and purpose without just scraping by. We know that this path isn't always easy to navigate though, so we're here to help you. From making a career change, starting and growing your own business, balancing life and business, and most importantly, pursuing your own freedom-filled life. Get ready for real, relatable stories and advice on your journey towards something more. We serve it up BFF style, so pour yourself that third cup of coffee and let's dive in. Welcome to the Freedom-Filled Life Podcast. Hey there, it's Shay here. I'm so excited to share today's episode with you. Right now, I know you're probably starting to think about your 2022 goals, that the new year is just around the corner. Maybe you're thinking of making a career change, but you're not sure what that even looks like. I get it because I've been there too, and so is my guest, Kellie Daniel. She started her own online business in the midst of being let go from her job as a production assistant and going through a heartbreak at the same time. It was around this time in December 2 years ago when she decided to make a change and finally pursue a business that would bring her more joy, purpose, and fulfillment. That's when she enrolled in the Bucket List Bombshells Academy, our online course curriculum that gives you the exact framework you need to be your own boss and successfully launch your own online business. And here's an extra juicy piece of news. When you enroll in the Bucket List Bombshells Academy this week only, you'll also receive our new 2022 Dream Career Accelerator Bundle, valued at over $5,000, totally for free. Inside this bundle, you'll get a live 2022 goal setting and vision planning workshop to kick off your year, guide you through our exact New Year planning steps, and create a plan to accomplish your 2022 goals together. You're also going to get 3 live group hot seat sessions. So we're going to join you on Zoom where we will personally coach you one-on-one as you tackle your goals and help you overcome any blocks in your way using our decade of business experience. And lastly, your personal accountability small group is included in this bundle. This is a group of tight-knit BBA students to connect with each week on Zoom and hold you accountable as you're pursuing your goals together. Now, if you're curious how enrolling in the Bucket List Bombshells Academy could bring you the life you've always dreamed of, I'm sitting down today with a former Academy student to talk all about how she made this dream life a reality. Now, let me introduce you to Kellie Daniel. Kellie Daniel is the founder of Second Act Media, where she works with celebrities and high-profile brands looking to elevate their presence online through brand development, social media management, and one-on-one influencer coaching. Kellie has worked with brands and individuals such as Daniela Monet, Simplified, Kinder Beauty, and many more. In our conversation today, Kellie shares how through the midst of heartbreak and losing her job, she created her own business. She gives us real talk on how to tune out the people who are telling you can't do this, including yourself, and how she replaced her 9-to-5 income in just 3 months. There are so many great pieces of advice and inspiration in this episode, so grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea and let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Today I have Kellie, and she is a past student of ours of the Bucket List Bombshells Academy. She is also the founder of Second Act Media. So I'm really excited to be sitting down and chatting with you today, Kellie, because our listeners, a lot of them are looking for a career change or more joy, fulfillment, purpose. Some of them are taking the leap to become their own boss, and then some of them really have no idea what it is to even make a career change and what that looks like for them. And I know that this is something that Kellie has achieved and created for herself, which is why I was really excited to bring her on and have her sitting down with us to chat about her journey and her experiences going after her dream life and career. So I'm really excited to get into it and for our listeners to get that inside scoop on how you made the career shift from working as a production assistant to running your own company. So before we get into your full story, can you tell us a bit about your business and what services you offer and what type of clients you work with?
Yes. So hi, everyone. I'm so excited to chat with Shay today. My business, Second Act Media, I specialize in helping high profile brands and individuals scale their social medias. So I mainly offer brand development, like logo design. I'm kind of phasing out of it and I'll get into that later. Social media management. So coming up with, content and really managing somebody's page, and one-on-one influencer coaching is what I call it. But basically it's like helping celebrities directly scale their social profiles. So that's like the main meat of my business per se. It's, started out just kind of with any client that, wanted this kind of help. But then I realized after a while that I really have a niche for helping those in the high profile space that I can get into later when I tell more about my story. But that's what I mainly focus on.
Nice. And what type of job that were you doing before you started your business? So did you have previous experience working with these type of clients?
Yes and no. So I was working as a production assistant right out of college on a very popular TV show. And, I thought I had it made. I went to Chapman University, like one of the top film schools in the country, and was working at this show. And I thought that like this was it. And I was working with like celebrities here and there, not like as much as I do now on a one-on-one basis, but they were in the, in the studio and everything. And I just was so unhappy all of a sudden with my work. I thought like everybody, once you graduate from film school, like this is the next step. And if you make it into a studio, like the show that I was on, people were like, oh my God, you made it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I made it, but I'm so sad every day. Like I just was not living the life I thought I had achieved. And, at some point I was like, there is so much more to life.
You talked a lot about feeling, sad and unfulfilled. Was this something that was after you started working, or did you have in that vision that you talked about, really chasing, you had a different vision for yourself in terms of like freedom and fulfillment? Or was it that the job kind of made you realize that after the fact?
It's a little bit of both. Like when I was in the job, I was like, I know there's more to life than this. Like this cannot be all I'm destined for. There's just no way. Like there's no way. And then once, I ended up getting let go from that job in early September 2019. And I was like, you know what? This is kind of a blessing because I just was not happy here. And I just knew that it was a push that I needed. I was either going to like leave myself. Well, they let me go. So I was like, all right, next. It was the push that I needed to go take that next step. So it's a little bit of both, and realizing like in the moment that there's more to life than this. And then also when I left, I was like, all right, time to hit the ground running. Right. This is my sign.
Right. And you said you had started off like doing social media management, and then now you might be shifting. I thought that was really interesting because can you speak to how long you've been doing this and kind of why this shift is coming about now at this time in your business?
Yeah. So I mainly specialize like in social media management, like content creation, influencer, celebrity coaching, and then brand development. So brand development, I mean like logo design and really like the artistic side of building somebody's brand with like logos and fonts and colors. And I do enjoy that. It just takes me way too long. And like, I just don't have as much passion for it as I used to in the beginning. I realize I have more success and have just more zest for life and what I do in the other avenues of my business, especially the coaching side. And as I get into a new year, I'm trying to think about my next steps for like going into my third year of my business. I'm like, okay, I can now decide what makes me more fulfilled and what are things like, time to close that chapter, focus on the services I'm really good at or that I really enjoy. So it's just been kind of a learning process through everything and realizing like what brings my heart happiness, like to get up every day. So I don't want to get up and do something I'm not passionate about. And I'm going to do better work when I'm really in it and enjoying what I do.
Yeah, I love that because I think, we're talking a lot about freedom and fulfillment, and you weren't feeling that in your traditional 9 to 5. And then as an entrepreneur, that feeling might come up again. And I think we tend to think this something that's wrong or something that, we chose the wrong path. And I just think that it's a part of life. And when you have your own business, you have that freedom though, to quickly and easily change that path. And you already have that network and you already have that business know-how. So I love that you're still continuing to just change and develop your business as it relates to what brings you joy. I love that. So I know a little bit about the story behind the name of your business, but I would love for you to share how you chose the name Second Act Media for your business.
So when I was let go from that job, my friend was taking me out to my car. I've got my cardboard box of things from my desk and I'm like in tears, like sad, but also because I'm like, what's next? But also like, I truly think this is just your second act. Like you're destined to do something else. And ever since that day, I was like, yeah, you're right. It is. I don't know what's next, but it is my second act. And it's funny because when I was graduating, our commencement speaker were Ross and Matt Duffer, who made Stranger Things. And they went to Chapman. So everybody's like, oh my gosh, the Duffer Brothers here. So we were so excited. And they were always saying that, the first act of a movie is good. Your second act, that's when the good shit happens. I was like, yes. And I was like, I had that in my mind. And then, I had this moment where my friend was like, I think this is your second act. And I'm like, you're right. And the second act of a screenplay is where all the fun and games happen, where somebody like, I don't know, like when Elwoods goes to Harvard, for example, like all the like fun stuff starts to roll out. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. This was just the first chapter for me.
Yes, I know. And I kind of knew a little bit about that story. That's what I wanted to share, because I just love the fact that you're using that in your business name, but you have just such the second act vibe. Like that's what, we all reach that crossroads when we're looking for a change, either in life or career, really anything. And I just love that. I think people want to get it right the first time. And I love that a second act is almost allowing you the space to be like, great, I'm done with that chapter. Now what's in store? And let me start this second act, knowing what I know and going forward and bringing, knowing what I don't want. And now I can have the clarity to go after what I do want. So I love that. And also something you said made me think, like you had mentioned these guys had come and spoken at your school and this really inspired this name. And for me, it's just so interesting how people have an impact in ways that we couldn't imagine. Because when I was in university myself, I had someone come and speak in my classroom, and she was technically on Skype. And back then it was like that was very unheard of, but she was running an online business. She was a website designer online. And I remember it still wasn't maybe that what I had thought I had wanted to do yet, but it was something that had sparked. So like about a year later is when I actually decided to look into what that was, because she had come and, spoke at my school. I just think it's so cool how we really don't know the impact that people have on us as well. So that was just a little side thing that I loved, that we never know what the impact is that someone is going to have.
I mean, like same thing happened to me, sort of. I mean, there was a commencement speaker thing, but also when I found the bucket list bombshells, because I had seen ads for y'all on Instagram for years throughout college. And I was like, what is this? Why do I keep getting ads for this? And then like finally one day, like when I was at this job after graduation, I was like, I'm just going to look into it. I clearly keep getting ads for this for a reason. I'm just going to look. And then I was so impressed by the website and the masterclass, the free masterclass in the beginning. I was like, I'm just going to sign up for the masterclass, see what it is. If I don't like it, I'll leave. But this sounds really cool. And since the masterclass, I was like, yep, gonna sign up for all three. So I was like, yep, I'm gonna do this. And I think I really was signing up just because I wanted more skills in social media. I never really thought maybe I'll make my own business, but I did think that was really cool. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at them traveling everywhere and working online, like working from wherever they want to. And then after I started getting into the classes while I was at this job, literally on my lunch, like doing my classes on weekends, and I was like, okay, I want to dive all into this. I had no idea it's going to take me here, but I can't be more thankful than that moment when I was like, I'm going to click on this ad and finally look at it. I'm so glad I did.
I am so happy you did. We have so enjoyed watching your journey through the bucket list bombshells, which includes the 3 courses that Kellie was mentioning. We have skills, foundational based courses teaching you tech skills and design skills. And then we have our business skills course, which actually teaches you how to build a business, find and land clients. So I'm really curious, was that ad, or was that us who were the ones that inspired you to start your own business, or was it something else? Why not continue on with another 9 to 5 in production?
Yeah, I thought about that as I was taking these classes. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just get a corporate job and, just go that route in social media, which is totally fine. And many people do. But I was like, I really like that idea of working from home. And I really like that
Mm.
idea of working on my own time when it's most effective for me. Cause I like to work sometimes at 7 a.m. But like if I'm up before the world with my coffee, doing my thing, I feel really energized. And sometimes late at
Mm.
night when I have a movie on, I'm like, okay, I feel more in the zone now. Cause sometimes like when you're at a cubicle, 9 to 5 in a gray, sad office, not every office is
Mm.
like this, but many are, you're just like, the days just keep going by. And I'm like, there's so
Mhm.
much more out there. And I'm like, I feel like I want to explore my own business thing. And my parents were like,
Mm.
what? And I'm like,
Mm.
just let me try. And I landed my first client who was a celebrity gifting consultant, funny enough. And
Mm.
that's kind of how I got into the celebrity field. And she was my old neighbor from San Francisco. And I just helped her with her social, for a little. And I was like, I don't know, I'm just kind of getting my feet wet. But I really liked it. I was working from coffee shops like Christmas 2019, like during this
Ooh.
time, like 2 years ago.
Oh my
And,
gosh.
I really like what I'm doing. It's fun. It's not a ton of money right now, but like I'm doing it. Okay. Like I'm doing the
Mm.
thing and I'm enjoying it. And then that following January, I picked up my first celebrity client through Instagram and here I go.
Can you go back to the timeline,
Yes.
basically, like from taking the courses to launching your business? How long did it take for you to say be full time, kind of making what you made in your 9 to 5?
I would say, okay, so I signed up for the courses like late July, early August of 2019. And I was doing them like, part time while trying to figure out job stuff. I would say I gained my first part-time client October 2019, that celebrity gifting woman, and then I gained my second client in January of 2020. That's what made me full-time. So it was
Mm.
only a couple of months for me to
Yeah.
really like dive into the courses, soak up everything, and just really go at it. And I had to make
Mm.
these opportunities happen for me.
Mhm.
Like I saw the
Mhm.
celebrity post on Instagram. They were looking for a content creator slash editor in LA. I still have the screenshot on my phone of the story that they posted because I was like,
I
I'm just gonna save this. Like, I don't know, like maybe, I don't know, I'm just gonna save it on my phone. Maybe I'll look back on it. And I still look back on it. And I applied, met them for coffee, and they're like, we had a couple people, we were looking at, but we
Mhm.
actually only want to meet with you. And we just kind of went from there. So it really took a couple of months. But I think for everybody, it's different. You have to
Mhm.
consider like, are you working during that time? Are you,
Yeah.
working in the coffee shop, retail, just trying to earn some extra cash? Or are you at your full-time job trying to balance classes? I think there's
Yeah.
no like linear path with anything,
Yes.
but for me, it only took a couple of months, but everybody's different, but I still cannot believe like where I am ever since then.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Yeah, Cass and I talked about our journeys on a couple episodes ago. And yeah, you never know. It's all up and down, but it was only a couple months really of like dedicated hard work to get us to that full-time, position where we could be full-time business owners and have replaced our 9 to 5 income, which was just incredible. And I think one of the biggest fears that a lot of our audience has around that. So I think your story is just really inspiring, but it's also very similar. It's not a unique situation. And I think that you said it so well. This episode is brought to you by the Bucket List Bombshells Academy. 8 years ago, I left my uninspiring 9 to 5 job and booked a one-way ticket to Mexico in pursuit of my own freedom-filled life. That led me to start my own online virtual assistant company where I had the freedom to work from anywhere. I design my own schedule and do work that I love. All of a sudden, work became a source of excitement, and most importantly, I felt inspired to open up my laptop each day. The Bucket List Bombshells Academy is our comprehensive course curriculum of online courses where we will teach you the step-by-step of learning in-demand online skills and building your very own online business. And this week only, we have an extra surprise gift we're including with your enrollment into the Bucket List Bombshells Academy. You'll receive our new 2022 Dream Career Accelerator Bundle, valued at over $5,000, but we're giving it away totally for free. Included in this bundle is a live 2022 goal setting and vision planning workshop to kick off your year, 3 live group hot seat sessions on Zoom where we'll personally coach you one-on-one using our decade of business experience, And you'll be placed into a personal accountability small group, a group of tight-knit Bucket List Bombshell Academy students to connect with each week on Zoom and hold you accountable to pursuing your goals together. Plus, you'll have support from us and our expert community igniters to guide you and answer your questions every step of the way. You don't have to have a business idea or even an idea of what you want to do next in your career. If you know you're ready to make a change and pursue your own freedom-filled life, we're here to help you take the next step. Join us in the Bucket List Bombshells Academy or learn more by visiting bucketlistbombshells.com/academy2022. I had a question as you were speaking that came up. You've been talking a lot about how you found clients using Instagram and maybe your network, but I would love to hear more about like what are your go-to client finding strategies?
Yeah. So, I mean, fortunately, like things have come through referrals, which is great. But for me, especially within the celebrity space, like that's a very niche audience to cater to. And it's not always easy to come across them. I mean, for me, like I'm in LA, I went to film school. Like I have a network of people that have worked with celebrities that know of me, or the people know of me, not the celebrities yet, but they are like, hey, Kelly, like I worked with this guy on this film. He needs help with social. Can I put you in contact? Or like, oh, I actually know this person. They're my neighbor. Hello, something like that, but even through Instagram, like I was just watching a movie and I tagged an actor in a story just because I was enjoying the movie and he put it on his story and I was like, hey, how are you? And, just kind of started a conversation. A led to B, led to C. Now he's my client. And that I wasn't even trying to get him as a client. I was just enjoying his movie, and there are so many. I realized that, in the celebrity space, I mean, I was a child actor. I am not famous. I was a child actor in San Francisco. Like I know the game and I've been on so many sets. I understand a long 12-hour plus days and how your schedule can flip on a dime and you have to fly over here or you have to get this script ready. And I get the world that they come from, and I'm also good at my job. So it's like when they're looking for this help, they want somebody that's not only good at their job, but also gets the space in their schedule. And then a third, somebody that can help ground them and be a friend at the end of the day. Because when like the lights dim, you're still you. Like when you're not at the red carpet, when you're not, at this event, whatever, like you still need somebody to kind of help center you. And I mean, fortunately, everybody I work with is absolutely wonderful. And we're all so similar, which is great. But I just, I tell them, I'm like, hey, like, I get you do all these movies. Cool. What's your favorite color? Like, I want to know about you. I know it's great. You have all this stuff going on, but like, tell me about you at the end of the day. Like, you kind of have to be like a confidant and of like a friend for like a shoulder to cry on, So it all just kind of comes about like through referrals and Instagram. Long answer to your question. And it's not easy per se. There's so many people that ignore me, but I'm not like continually like reaching out to people because cool DMs can be like annoying. People are like, all right, go away, because some people could think I'm just one of those Instagram bots, like get followers. Like, no, I'm not real, I promise. But yeah, sometimes it's just kind of starting a conversation and then here we are.
Yeah. I mean, I think those two strategies are so key, the referrals, but also creating the personal connections. I did something similar, but I used Facebook groups. And then I basically just was active in those. I was giving genuine advice. I'd help people and they would see that I was just there to like, I was genuinely interested in their business, in what they had to do. And then on the flip side of that, when you're working with your clients and you're creating this client experience after my first, let's say 5 clients that I had where I kind of was taking anything under the sun, when I kind of started to find the clients that I really loved to work with, they were really my quote unquote ideal client. Really nurturing those relationships has then led to all of my referrals for like that first 3 years in business. It was primarily from referrals. I also did cold outreach emails, but I just think that client building relationship, even the first 1 to 2 are going to be your biggest advocates. So it's just so interesting that you had something similar strategies in like different times and like, different areas of industry as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Can you speak a little to how, these strategies that you've learned and other things that you learned in your business from the Bucket List Bombshells Academy, our courses, how have they impacted your business journey?
Oh my gosh, if I didn't have these courses, I don't know where I would be today, truly. And I'll take that to the bank. But I think for me, with the strategies, I'm trying to think of like all the courses, like what was like most effective because they all were so good. That third one, I'm blanking
The
what it's called,
business
travel
skills course.
business
Yeah.
one, business
Yeah.
skills. Yes, that one really laid the foundations for me on like
Mm,
setting up certain things in my business because the other two were even more skill based and like here's like
yeah.
how to do this skill or this service, but and those were great. But this was really helpful for me, just kind of laying out as someone who's quite green in the business space. I'm like, I
Mm.
don't know how to run a business. I was 22. I'm like, I don't know. But this was so helpful for me to just have a breakdown of like step by step, like here's our recommendations. And I like that the
Mm.
courses, I've told this to several people. I always wanted to take social media classes in university, but they were taught by professors who most likely were so out of the industry, they just didn't understand what was
Mm.
taught and what's not that they're bad,
Mhm.
but they just might be old school, that they didn't really get it. And I felt too focused on getting a grade and passing versus
Mm.
actually like soaking up the
Mhm.
information and like retaining the knowledge. And
Mm.
I like that the courses were built for women, like by women.
Mm.
And I could take them at my own pace and really get like the breakdown that I needed. I felt like it was very personalized to me, even though this is a course like anybody really could sign up for. I'm like, I feel like they're speaking to me. I'm not listening to like some lecture that I'm going to snooze through. It felt
Mm.
very digestible. And I actually like was so excited to go to class every day and, like sit down and get my notebook and be like, okay, like start writing down. I'm like,
Yeah.
I actually have like a passion to go to class. Like, I feel like those types of like instructional videos or classes, whatever,
Mm.
those are the most effective because you want to be there. You've invested in
Mhm.
it and you're like, I feel like this is actually serving me. So I feel like
Mm.
that was a big plus out of all three classes. They were all so informative. So it was
Yeah.
incredibly helpful.
That's incredible. Yeah, I love the word that you use, investing, sort of investing in yourself. I think with education, sometimes you don't take that time to invest in yourself and learn something new because we're kind of scared of taking that day one step. And so that's why we made our courses so accessible, so real, so authentic, and so like, hey, I'm sitting across the table from you. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to learn. And I'm going to be there all the way through with you. So that's so kind of you to say, and I'm so appreciative for the words that you shared on that. So the challenges and maybe the fears that you may have had to start, what like sort of challenges did you face when you first started, and how did you overcome them?
For sure, building a website. Me over here, I'm some tech wizard. I mean, like I'm good with tech, but this was like I saw coding and I was like, I'm about to run. Like I don't know how to do this. Like I mean, everything that I learned from the tech skills course helped me build out my website. I was like, okay, I can do
Mm.
this. It's tough. I'm scared. Eventually, like when I was ready to kind of, change my niche in my business and really like narrow it
Mm.
down and, level up in a sense after a year, I hired somebody, which was fantastic, who's also a bucket list bombshells person, Elena, who was just featured in a blog on your Insta a while back. Elena, I'm blinking Randovan. I'm blinking how to pronounce her
Yes.
last name. She's
Yep.
awesome. She also went to Chapman. So she and I connected and oh my gosh, she's the best. She's my go-to for website. But anyways, definitely building a website was nerve-wracking for me. But now it's like so helpful to have like the Facebook group or have other contacts from the
Mm.
bombshells and not like that I can serve or have as like referrals for myself or other people and be like resources for me. I think with starting my business, just taking that first step. I mean,
Mm.
after I, was like investing in the courses and building everything out, then I went home for Christmas crying. So I was like, I have
Mm.
no job. This guy that I was dating dumped me. I feel horrible about myself. Everybody probably thinks I'm a failure because
Oh my
I
gosh.
like had a job at one of the top studios and shows and everybody's very
Mm-hmm.
envious,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't admit that this happened to me or I will be laughed at. I'm going to be a
Mm.
failure. I don't know. And I was just like losing my marbles. I felt so guilty about everything that happened to me, even though it's not my fault. But, there's a lot going on about
Mhm.
treatment in the workplace, especially because of like work from home. Now people are seeing like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I was not in a great work environment and it's better working from home. Like I can still do great work in my office or at my
Mm-hmm.
company studio, but doing it from home just I don't know, alleviate stress, makes it better. I was still dealing with all of that. And those were my initial fears. I was just nervous about taking that next step. And I was like, I don't know what I'm
Mm.
doing. I'm 22, but I have this idea. Do I do it? I want to just try. And I mean, wow. I had my parents that kept sending me jobs like, you can apply to this. I was like, stop it. Like, thank you, but can I just do my thing? They finally stopped. And I was like, they meant well, but I was like, hey. But yeah, so it just in the beginning, I know those are the initial fears, especially when you're investing money into it. You want to make sure your money's going somewhere where it's going to be well spent and hopefully reap some sort of rewards. And I mean, I can't say enough. I tell everybody that at least like the bombshells and other courses that I've taken free and paid through HubSpot and other great resources I've found in Facebook groups, like all of those hours and all of the money and the energy that I've put into my business has paid off more than I could have imagined.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I just want to commend you for taking the leap. It sounds like there was a lot going on in your life. I think maybe a lot of our listeners out there might also be at a major crossroads in their life where it just kind of feels like you have no control over everything that's happening. And I think by investing in yourself or by, sitting down and figuring out what you want, or even becoming your own boss, you're taking that control and you're taking like the reins in your hands, and you're able to then, move forward how you want, even if you have resistance from the people around you. And even if you have resistance from yourself. So you talked a lot about you were like, you felt guilty or you were like really afraid. Like, how did you overcome like the mental barriers that seemed to be sort of present while you were making this change?
Oh man, I just kept telling myself I'm the only one that's like responsible for my happiness at the end of the
Oh, I love
day.
that.
You know what? There are things that can make you happy, like people or things, but when it comes to your career, like it's really up to you to like find that happiness, like whatever brings you that joy. And I can't just sit around and like wait for it to happen to me. So I just kind of had that in the back of my head. Like, you know what? Like I know I'm sad about everything that's kind of happened in the past year, but we have to keep going. Like I know there's more out there. I know my story is not done yet. So let's just keep going. And I know it was tough and it was so frustrating. But I mean, look where I am now. And I've told one of my best friends from first grade, very different career path, but she was thinking of going into something with like engineering or tech. But then she was like, I hate my job. I hate it. And I told her what I was doing. I was like, girl, I quit. And like, I'm over here doing this. And I'm not telling you to quit your job, but like, if you are, I'll be your supporter. And so she quit her job and then was just working at Starbucks. She's like, I don't care. I just could not be at this place anymore. And I'm working at Starbucks. And now it kind of somehow inspired her to look into the world of like being an EMT and going to PT school. And she was like, I'm just going to go into it. If I don't like it, I'll leave. But at least I'm like doing something while I'm, making money. And then now she is a full-time EMT, absolutely loves her job, and is hoping to become like a firefighter next.
Wow.
If she hadn't just like taken that step, even though everybody, especially her parents too, were like, what are you doing? You're getting benefits and like paid all this money. Like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm not happy. And I think especially after COVID, everybody has really realized to them like what's important to them in their lives. And like what brings them joy to get up and every day in the morning. And a lot of people have had career changes. I mean, they've had moves to go back home because they can't afford to live where they were currently, or it wasn't safe, and they have to go home, and it made them kind of rethink everything about their lives. And I know so many friends who have gone on to different careers and they couldn't be happier. So sometimes it just takes sitting down and really like looking at your life. You don't have to plan out a 5-year plan, but just be like, okay, what do I want to accomplish in the next year? Like, what can I do now to chase that happiness? Happiness Begins, the album by Jonas Brothers, came out when I was like leaving that job and going into like this social world. And I was like, I want to be like the Jonas Brothers and chase happiness. So cheesy, but it's true. I was like, straight up, Joe, Nick, Kevin, y'all are telling me to chase happiness. I'm gonna do it. And now I'm doing it. So
I think we're all reevaluating. I think the past 2 years have really shown us what areas of our life we want to spend time in and put our energies towards, and what is that giving us in return, in a sense, in a grander sense, than just a basic, I go to a job for a paycheck. I think, especially our generation, I think, and even the next generation is really, I think they were less concerned about the financial aspect of it sometimes and more want to be fulfilled. And I think that's just wasn't happening in a traditional setting. And it's really cool to see how the world has changed and how we're being more intentional about everything there.
I feel like 2022 is the year of like being intentional about
Oh,
everything,
I
whether
love that.
the purchases you make from small businesses versus like your career path and like what that next step looks like. It has taken a lot of work, but you're so right. I think our generation and the next is really focusing on, whether it's a 9-to-5 corporate job or doing something on their own, like what's going to give them the most happiness out of their life.
Yeah. And then from that perspective, looking back on your business journey, what are you most proud of?
Oh man, I'd say I think I'm most proud of just like keeping going even when the going gets tough. It's not easy. It really isn't, like I'm sure people look at me and they think, I have like, oh my God, she's doing great, whatever. I'm like, there are days when it's really tough. It's not all rainbows. I wish it was. I have more rainbows now than ever, but like, it's not easy. And I still have to get up every day and put my socks on just like everyone else. And just because I have my own business and I'm my own boss doesn't mean that it's any easier than having like a 9-to-5. I mean, I didn't want to work a 9-to-5. Now I work 24/7. I don't know if you've seen that meme, but it's like now there's so much more that goes into it. And like, I mean, the world still rolls around. I was in a car accident on October 22nd. So it was about like over a month ago. And I was T-boned and my car was totaled. Somebody ran a stop sign and totaled my car. And, I tell all my clients, hey, I was just in an accident. I'm just letting you know. And they're like, oh my God, like everybody cared. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm the only one in my business. If I am like out of commission, stuff gets done. And so I still have to keep going, even when there are things that are thrown into my way. And, fortunately I was okay. I wasn't injured. And, we got a new car. Woohoo! And, all works itself out. But still, I'm like, just because I'm doing my own thing does not mean I am like, blocked off from like crazy things happening to me in the world. Like something like that could happen and that really throws it off. Because at a 9-to-5, you can kind of take that, PTO and take the time you need. For me, what's PTO? I don't necessarily have that, with certain clients. And I'm like, well, it's just me. So gotta go car shopping now. I think I'm just most proud of like keeping going, even when it is tough, when I have a car accident and like health things and everything going on. It just keeping it up. It's just so funny is that my 6th grade teacher gave me like, when you had those like class awards, like you had an award for like kind, honest, like everybody got a word or something in middle school. And for me, I was the only kid who got steadfast. That's just been like a big thing in my life, just the of steadfastness. And I think that's like one of the best things to describe me in general, but especially in my business. Like I'm always proud of how I remain steadfast in everything that I do, good and not so good moments,
Well, I'm so sorry that you got into an accident and I'm really happy that you're okay. It sounds like, being your own boss did allow you that freedom and that flexibility to sort of be able to adjust when life throws major curveballs your way. And I think that's something really beautiful about the fact of running your own business is that if life happens, if health things happen, if things come up, it is sometimes only you in the beginning, but it's also totally within your control to make those changes and make those adjustments and work with your clients or find different types of clients. We've had students who have gotten into car accidents and had, been unable to go back to their 9-to-5 jobs. And so they started their online business and they work online and it's totally okay because they don't need to travel. They don't need to be standing up all day. And it's just really unique how life can throw you those curveballs at times and you can spin it, and being your own boss just really allows you that like freedom and flexibility. And sort of spinning off of that, how has starting your business led to more freedom and fulfillment in your life?
So for me, I would say, having my own business gives me more of that freedom to delegate the day how I want to, instead of following a strict, like you have to be in the office at this time, doing this at this hour, leave here, etc. So I think for me, like if I wanted to have a slower morning, if I was just exhausted from the night before, I'm like, all right, I can move my schedule around so I can work a little later in the night, but sleep in so I have more energy. Or if a friend invites me to go out to dinner or drinks, I'm like, okay, now I can have a little more flexibility instead of being like, well, I'm off at this time and it'll take me here, long to get here and everything. I'm like, okay, well, I can end work now, go to drinks, come back and finish things if I need to, or move it to the next day. So just kind of, I think it lets me delegate like how I want each day to go. That's not necessarily every day. I try to stick to a schedule, like when I want to start work and when I want to end it for the day. But some days I let it come as it does. You never know. Some days I got to move things around, and I'm glad I have the ability to do so.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's just the flexibility. It's what we hear from almost all of our students, that once they've, launched their business, the flexibility that they have just on a day-to-day basis is what brings them the most joy. And I think that's really cool, because I don't think it has to be this like big grand change that leads to big grand feelings of fulfillment. It's small things on a day-to-day basis that bring us that fulfillment. Well, I've so enjoyed chatting with you today. As we wrap up, I have one last question for you. What is one piece of advice that you would give someone who wants to make a career change, but they're not sure if being their own boss is right for them?
I would say whatever that career looks like to you, do as much research as you can into it and what it looks like to get started. And if any of that sparks something inside of you, like, yes, I want to learn more, or I at least just want to go attend this seminar or attend this class or invest in whatever, just do it. I know everybody's probably going to say, just do it. And here I am saying it, but I'm telling you, like, again, you're the only one that can really control like that happiness in your life and finding it for yourself. Like, you're the only person at the end of the day, like, you have you. If everything goes away, you just have you, and you have to find that happiness in what sparks that in you. And don't feel afraid, even if people are saying they don't believe in you and they think you can't do it. They think you're silly for doing XYZ. We only have one life. And especially in the past couple of years, everybody's realized what is more important to them and what is no longer serving them. And truly, if there is something that is sparking that interest in you, then just go for it. Worst comes to worst, you're like, oh, maybe this isn't what I'm interested in. Cool. You find something else and you keep going. Like, you're never going to know unless you just try and go for it. I mean, hey, look where that took me.
Well, thank you so much, Kellie, for joining me today. This has been super fun. I've loved getting to know your story. It sounds like you are on such a wild ride, and now you're expanding and changing, and it's just really cool to see you from the start to now. So for anybody out there listening, can you let them know where they can find you, share your information about where they can connect with you and your business?
Yes. So my Instagram is at Second Act Media. And then if you want to check out my website and reach out to me there, it's secondactmedia.me, not .com. Did not get the URL for that one, but I saw .me and I was like, I feel like more people are going to .me these days, a little more personal. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So .me, friends, .me. So you're more than welcome to reach out to me there via email. And I would love to connect. If you have questions, you just need advice, all that jazz, reach out.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kellie.
Thank you.
The Freedom Filled Life podcast is brought to you by the Bucket List Bombshells. It's hosted by me, Cassie Torresillas, and my co-host, Shay Brown. If you loved today's episode, we'd be so grateful if you left us a review. Reviews help us spread the word about the Freedom Filled Life podcast, and they're a key part of sharing the show with other women who believe they're made for more. Until next week, keep on pursuing your own freedom-filled life.